That culminated in 2024.
Yeah.
With what some are calling the biggest rap battle of all time.
It was huge.
I remember social media was exploding.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was choosing sides, analyzing lyrics, dissecting every rhyme and metaphor.
It was like the whole world was watching.
It was like the whole world was tuned in.
It was.
And out of that fiery exchange came...
Welcome to Witter. Who Has Time to Read? The podcast that brings deep dives for busy minds. Listen to AI hosts Jane and Dane and get ready to unpack the world's most captivating books in just a fraction of the time. Whether commuting, working out, or just squeezing in a quick break, we deliver key insights, thought-provoking themes, and takeaways you can carry into your day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Plus, use our links in the description to purchase this book. Your support helps us bring more engaging book discussions to you. Listen and follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Who has time to read? You do, with Witter.
Welcome back to Witter, your shortcut to deep dives for busy minds. We're kicking off Black History Month with our Black Voices series.
Nice.
Yeah, and we're diving into the butterfly effect, how Kendrick Lamar ignited the soul of Black America, by music journalist Marcus J. Moore.
Did one.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with Kendrick's Super Bowl performance happening this Sunday.
Yeah, talk about a year, right?
It's unbelievable. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's back up a little bit and look at, how he got here. The book takes us all the way back to his childhood in Compton in the 80s and 90s. Yeah. And Moore really paints a vivid picture of what it was like growing up there. Gang violence, poverty.
Oh, yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. But there's this interesting concept that comes up about his family, especially his father, Kenny.
Right.
It's called intelligent ignorance. What is that?
So it's kind of like this balance. It's about being aware of the streets, understanding the dangers, but not letting that knowledge consume you. So it's like being street smart, but not becoming a product of the streets.
Yeah. So basically, you know what's going on, but you don't let it drag you down.
Exactly.
You keep your head above water.
Right. You use that knowledge to navigate, to survive.
Right. To thrive, even.
Exactly. And you can see how that really shaped Kendrick's worldview. It's this tension between darkness and light.
Right.
That you hear in his music.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And speaking of music, the book talks about his early influences.
Yeah.
Tupac, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg.
Of course, the West Coast legends.
Right, like how much did they influence his sound?
Oh, they were huge. They basically provided a blueprint for West Coast hip hop. But Kendrick, he didn't just imitate them.
Yeah.
He took those influences and he elevated them.
Right.
He brought this incredible storytelling ability, like a poet, and a social consciousness that was really unique.
There's so much depth to his lyrics. And then there's this whole thing about him signing with Top Dog Entertainment at 16.
Yeah.
This is a label associated with the Bounty Hunter Bloods.
Right.
And he's from the west side of Compton. That seems like a pretty risky move.
Yeah. It was definitely a bold move, but it also shows how much Top Dog believed in him.
Right.
And how Kendrick himself saw an opportunity to bridge those divides, those gang barriers that were so prevalent in Compton.
To sort of break down those walls.
Exactly. And it gave him a platform to reach a much wider audience.
But then there's that ego walk incident in South Africa that Moore describes.
Oh, yeah.
Where Kendrick insisted on being the only one on it during performances.
Right.
Doesn't that kind of clash with the intelligent ignorance philosophy?
It's interesting, right? Because it shows this ambition, this drive to stand out. But maybe it was also strategic. Even at that age, he was thinking about his brand, his image.
So maybe not a contradiction, but more like a calculated move.
Maybe. Moore doesn't really give us a definitive answer.
Right.
But it definitely makes you think about Kendrick's self-awareness.
And then there's the Lady Gaga story. That one really surprised me.
Yeah, it's an unexpected pairing.
You've got this kid from Compton and Lady Gaga, the queen of pop.
Total opposites, right.
Yeah, and yet they connected.
I think it shows how Kendrick's artistry just transcends genres. Lady Gaga saw something special in him, a depth and a realness that resonated with her.
Yeah, his music is so powerful.
Yeah.
It really makes you feel something.
It does.
So let's talk about Good Kid, MAAD City.
Oh, yeah.
Kendrick's breakthrough album. Moore calls it a cinematic masterpiece.
It really is.
So what makes it so special?
It's the way he tells the story. He takes you to Compton,
yeah,
not just through his lyrics, but through the sounds, the emotions, the imagery.
Right.
It's not your typical linear narrative, though. It's more like, a Quentin Tarantino film where the scenes jump around and you have to piece them together.
Like a puzzle.
Exactly.
I love that. Give me an example.
Okay, so like the opening track, Shireen, a.k.a. Master Splinter's daughter.
Yeah.
It just throws you right into the action. There's suspense. There's humor. The voicemail from his parents.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. Kendrick, do you want to go to the mall?
Right. And it's against this backdrop of gang violence.
It's brilliant.
It's so clever.
Yeah.
And then you have Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. It's this incredibly powerful track where Kendrick encounters this older man who really challenges him, forces him to confront the cycle of violence.
Right, so it's not just surface level.
No,
there's a lot of depth.
There's social commentary woven into the storytelling.
Yeah.
And then you have Compton featuring Dr. Dre. It closes the album and it brings everything full circle.
Right, like a passing of the torch.
Exactly. It's like connecting different generations of Compton's music scene.
Right.
And really solidifying Kendrick as the new voice of West Coast hip hop.
And his impact goes way beyond music, right? I mean, that's where the title of the book, The Butterfly Effect, really comes into play.
Exactly. His music isn't just entertainment, it's a reflection of the times, a catalyst for these important conversations about race and injustice.
And that's what we're going to dive into next. We'll explore how Kendrick's music became a voice for a generation.
It's a fascinating journey for sure. And it's like this ripple effect, his music becomes this force for change.
Right. And more really highlights the impact of Trayvon Martin's death on Kendrick, on Black America as a whole, really.
Oh, absolutely. It was a turning point, a real wake-up call.
Right.
You can feel that shift in his music after that.
The urgency.
Yeah, the anger.
It's palpable.
Definitely. And he starts naming names in his songs: Amadou Diallo, Oscar Grant, Eric Garner,
Mike Brown,
Tamir Rice,
Sandra Bland,
Freddie Gray.
All victims of police brutality and racial profiling.
It's like he's saying, look, these are not just statistics. These are real people.
Right.
With families, with stories.
It's powerful.
Yeah. And it makes you confront the human cost of these tragedies.
And then All Right comes out.
Oh, man.
And it just becomes this anthem for the Black Lives Matter movement.
It's such a powerful song.
A song of hope.
Resilience.
Defiance.
Yeah. It's interesting how it was interpreted in different ways.
Right.
Some people saw it as this call to action, Yeah,
a rallying cry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you have the All Lives Matter crowd who just completely missed the point.
It's like they were trying to silence a very specific pain.
Exactly. And Moore talks about that tension in the book, the frustration and anger when people try to diminish the Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah, it's like they're saying all lives matter, but they're not really listening.
No, they're not acknowledging the systemic racism that Black people face.
That's why this book.
And Kendrick's music.
Especially during Black History Month.
Yeah. They force us to have these uncomfortable conversations.
Confront the truth. Exactly.
And To Pimp a Butterfly, that's where Kendrick really takes it to another level.
Yeah.
It's such a departure from Good Kid, M.A.80 City.
Sonically, it's a different.
Yeah. It's more experimental, more jazz, more funk.
Spoken word elements.
It's a lot to take in.
It's not background music.
No. You really have to sit with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's intentional. He's pushing us to confront these uncomfortable truths.
About ourselves.
About America.
About race.
The legacy of slavery.
It's heavy stuff.
It is. And then you have You.
Oh, man.
Which is just raw.
Painful.
Slice.
It's like you're listening to him pour his soul out.
Yeah. It's hard to listen to, but it's also so cathartic.
Yeah. It's a reminder that it's okay to not be okay.
Exactly. We all have pain.
We all have struggles.
And then there's Complexion, a Zulu love with Rhapsody.
Oh, that's a good one.
It tackles colorism within the Black community.
Right. Something that's not often talked about.
Exactly. And Kendrick brings it to the forefront. He's not just talking about racism from outside the community, but also the ways in which Black people can perpetuate colorism.
It's a conversation that needs to be had.
Absolutely. And Moore also mentions Kendrick's trip to South Africa as a big influence on To Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh, yeah. How so?
It broadened his perspective.
Right.
It exposed him to a different side of the Black experience, a different history of oppression and resilience.
And it really deepened his connection to his African roots.
Which you can hear in the music.
Definitely.
The rhythms, the themes.
It's all there?
Yeah. And then a few years later, damn comes out.
Another evolution.
Completely. And it reflects the times, you know?
This was during the Trump presidency.
A very turbulent time.
Yeah.
And you can feel that anxiety, that anger.
Right, in the music.
Yeah. In the lyrics, like XXX.
Oh, yeah.
It's a powerful critique of American hypocrisy.
Right.
The way we talk about freedom and justice, but ignore the reality of racial inequality.
And then that Grammy performance with Dave Chappelle.
Oh, man. Chills.
Kendrick in chains.
His dancer's falling.
And Chappelle comes out and says, the only thing more frightening than watching a black man be honest in America is being an honest black man in America.
Powerful. A real gut punch.
It was a statement.
A challenge to the industry, to America, to the world.
And then a few years later, he wins the Pulitzer Prize for Damn.
Unheard of for a hip-hop artist.
A game changer.
It really is. It legitimizes hip-hop as an art form.
As literature.
Exactly. And it paves the way for other hip-hop artists to be recognized for their artistry.
And it's no coincidence that he won for Damn. It's an album that's both accessible and profound.
It's got bangers, but it also makes you think.
Right.
It challenges your perspectives.
And then he curates the Black Panther soundtrack.
Another cultural phenomenon.
It's like he's constantly pushing boundaries.
And expanding the possibilities of what hip-hop can be.
While staying true to his roots.
His community.
His message. Which brings us back to Kendrick's incredible year in 2024. It feels like everything he's done has led up to this moment.
Yeah. The Drake battle, the GNX album, the Super Bowl, the world tour, it's all connected.
It's like a culmination of everything he's worked for.
It really is. And I can't wait to see what he does next.
So we've talked about his childhood, his influences, the evolution of his music. But 2024, that was a whole other level.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, where do we even begin?
Well, I think the Drake battle has to be the starting point.
Right. Come on. That was epic.
It was the rap battle of the century.
Everyone was talking about it.
It was insane. I mean, even my mom, who like only listens to like smooth jazz, was like glued to the screen.
Right. It was a cultural moment.
He really was. What did you think was so special about it?
Well, I mean, obviously you have these two like titans of hip hop going head to head.
Right.
But it wasn't just about like lyrical skill or who could, diss the other one better.
Right. There was this like depth to it, this storytelling element. Like they were both tapping into something much bigger.
Yeah, it was like beyond a typical battle.
Exactly.
And then of course you have Not Like Us, the anthem that came out of it.
Oh, man.
I mean, that song
gives me chills.
It's so raw.
So powerful.
And to think it came out of a rap battle.
I know, right?
But that's Kendrick, I guess.
Yeah.
He takes something that could have been just like a spectacle and he turns it into like a work of art.
Yeah, he elevates it.
A message.
And then boom, he drops the GNX album like out of nowhere.
Surprise.
It was a total curveball sonically.
It's different.
Yeah, more electronic, more experimental.
Some people were thrown off by it, I think.
Yeah, but that's what keeps him fresh.
He's not afraid to take risks.
Exactly. And it paid off. I mean, GNS was a huge success.
Critically acclaimed.
Commercially successful.
To prove he can, evolve, try new things, and still connect with a massive audience.
Absolutely.
Now,
the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. The biggest stage in the world.
I know.
It's kind of crazy to think about, right?
Yeah.
Like, from Compton to the Super Bowl halftime show.
It's a full circle moment.
What do you think it says about Kendrick, about hip-hop in general, to be on that stage?
I think it says a lot about how far hip-hop has come.
Right.
It's gone from being this, underground genre to being, mainstream, global.
Yeah.
And for Kendrick to be the one representing it on that stage, it's huge.
It's a statement.
It shows that, hip-hop is a powerful force.
It can't be ignored.
And then right after the Super Bowl, he's got the world tour.
Taking it global.
Yeah.
It's like that butterfly effect, from Compton to the world.
Spreading his message, inspiring people.
So what's the takeaway from all of this?
I think the takeaway is that Kendrick Lamar is more than just a musician.
Yeah.
He's a cultural icon.
An artist.
A visionary.
A voice for a generation.
And the butterfly effect, it's not just a biography. It's like a guidebook.
It's understanding his journey, his music.
It's a book that everyone should read, especially during Black History Month.
Absolutely. It's a deep dive into the soul of Black America through the lens of one of its most brilliant artists.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into The Butterfly Effect. Hopefully this conversation has inspired you to check out the book.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
And to continue exploring the world of Kendrick Lamar.
His music is a gift.
It really is. Thanks for listening, everybody, and keep those minds busy.